I deem it necessary to support the proposal of the Ministry of Defense and the General Command for partial mobilization held in the Russian Federation. I stress it is partial mobilization. Only those who are currently in reserve will be conscripted, and also those who served in the army have certain military professions and will be always given additional military training, taking into account the special military operation.
Russia's calling up more soldiers to join the fight, and the Kremlin is organizing a sham referenda to try to annex parts of Ukraine, an extremely significant violation of the UN Charter. This world should see these outrageous acts for what they are. This war is about extinguishing Ukraine's right to exist as a state, plain and simple.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Merkah HaKudash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth and rule well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Merkah HaKudash, Barakatham. It's the brother Kazak coming back at it again with another lesson, and the title of this lesson is going to be, The Third Woe Cometh Quickly. All right, just watching the times, and what you just saw was basically a video news clip of basically it summarizes the article. All right, it summarizes the news. Vladimir Putin, Russia's leader, is mobilized 300,000 troops to fight in Ukraine. Now this is obviously very alarming, because 300,000 troops doesn't look like that's not, it's not really an amount of troops that you would take just for one country. This is really, because they're about to set it off, man. All right. And that's ultimately the third woe. All right. The third world's war is going to come to pass, and ultimately it's been prophesied about in the scriptures. All right. So we're going to open up with the book of Isaiah chapter 13, and it reads, all right, it reads, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see, verse 2. All right, now you go into the word burden, that means a prophecy. All right, and Babylon is obviously not talking about the ancient land of Babylon, where the if I'm not mistaken, it's the hanging towers of no, not the hanging towers, the hanging gardens of Babylon. Is that? No, man. This is talking about a kingdom that's going to exist in the future, as far as it being referenced in the scriptures, being written down in the scriptures. And this kingdom, we believe through the Spirit, is America, man. All right. So Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1, the burden of Babylon, the prophecy of Babylon, aka America, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, and exalt the voice unto them, and shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. All right. And I've commanded my sanctified ones, and I've also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. And the mighty ones is talking about the angels, man. All right, because that's another way that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai has his hand in the hearts of the kings. All right, it's through the angels. Okay, and what proves that is the book of Proverbs chapter 21. All right, where it says the king's heart, all right, right there in the first verse, Salaki, the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. All right, and he does that by way of the angels, man. All right, he send the angels down, and the angels basically You know, while person's sleeping, you know, they put in the instructions into that person's heart, whatever they're going to carry out to do tomorrow, or the next day or so on. All right, so continuing on, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4. All right, and it reads, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. Okay, and this noise of a multitude, all right, this tumultuous noise of kingdoms, of nations, all right, is basically dealing with the whole setting that's manifesting right now. You know, the setting that the whole world is dealing with, this World War III scenario, man. All right, and that's what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is doing to set the stage for our deliverance, man. All right, so I'm gonna read this again. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains. All right, because mountains represent different nations. All right, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. And who are these people? Right? Primarily, it starts with the Russians, man. You know, because the Russians is one of the main, you know, kingdoms that's gonna destroy America, man. That's gonna destroy Babylon by way of the ICBM thermonuclear missiles. All right, so you have them, then you have the CSTO. All right, let's get an image of that. Let me see. All right, just bear with me. You know, because basically what CSTO is Russia and their counterparts. All right, let me see. There's one with the map. Boom. All right, so you see how they have, you know, their what's it called? You know, in the map it shows, you know, the different people that they're dealing with. All right, because these are their counterparts. You see Persia is there too. You know, even though it doesn't name them, you know, that's where Persia would be. All right, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't necessarily say the, let me see. Yeah, so that is Persia. All right, because you see that you know, in this prophecy in the book of Ezekiel chapter 38, we could grab that right now actually. You know, Persia is listed, Iran is listed amongst them. All right, and it's not listed, you know, verbatim as Iran. Okay, but you know, Persia is synonymous with Iran. All right, so it's in the book of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 5. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them handling, all of them with shield and helmet. All right, so let's go back to Isaiah chapter 13. All right, we just finished reading chapter 4. You know, a tumultuous noise of a great multitude, a great what is it? A tumultuous noise of kingdoms, of nations gathered together. All right, because at the end of the day, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is raising up enemies of Babylon to destroy this place. All right, verse 5, they come from a far country, from the end of the earth, even of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and the weapons of the indignation to destroy the whole land. All right, and them weapons of his indignation is talking about them ICBM thermonuclear missiles, man. It's not talking about no other thing. All right, it's mainly strictly dealing with the ICBM thermonuclear missiles, man. Verse 6, how ye, for the day of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is at hand, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth, and they shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. All right, because why? They won't be able to do anything about it. They won't be able to deliver themselves if that's their lot to be destroyed in the second death, which is, you know, the lake of fire, the ICBM missiles destroying this place, man. All right, verse 9. Behold, the day cometh. All right, so like the day of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai cometh, both with wrath and fierce anger. So like a cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger. All right, and why does it say cruel? Because if you're not of the elect, you're not going to make it, man. All right, if you're not of that 1/3 remnant, you're going to be destroyed. Okay, and guess what? The heathens, don't even get started with them. They lose by default. All right, so this is really for you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans to get yourself right. And if you're not going to get yourselves right, then it is what it is, man. All right, because if you don't get it on this side, you don't get it on the flip side anyways. Okay, when they come back through, Lord willing, we're of that number, our loins. All right, so anyways, Isaiah 13:9. Behold, the day of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. And that's one of the main goals right there too. You know, destroying the sinners thereof out of it. Why? Because there's too much iniquity abounding in the world. So like, you know, it's too much wickedness. It's too much iniquity. Our people is too complacent, you know, with the abominations and the wickedness thereof, man. You know, that they ultimately have to get taken out the way. All right, because they're too hand joined in hand with this devil, man. Okay. Continuing on, verse 10. All right, or actually, that's, you know, going into something else. All right, we're gonna jump down to verse 17. All right, and here we're gonna, you know, jump around a few scriptures. All right, just to connect the dots. All right, because at the end of the day, this is where it all leads to. Okay, so again, Isaiah chapter 13 and 17, and it reads, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them." All right, now the Medes, this ain't talking about the ancient Medo-Persian Empire. They're just gonna hop back in they're gonna hop in some ancient time machine, and then travel to the future, to this present day, and they just raise up against America. No, man, this is talking about the Russians, man. All right, this is code word for the modern day Russians. All right, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. So the Lord is stirring up the Russians against America, man. And you see it. All right, the situation, the way it's been transpiring, it's only getting worse. All right, it's not getting better for Babylon. It's only getting worse because this place is on its way out. Okay, so continuing on, and it reads, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it." Why? Because they got their own thing going with the ruble. All right, because here it is. You know, Babylon got everybody, you know, so dependent on the petrodollar, you know, that anybody that makes moves against that is acting against their interests, you know, and Babylon thinks that, you know, if they hit Russia with the right sanction or the right economic move or whatever, you know, that Russia's gonna fall. But really, it's the exact opposite. All right, they're not regarding the silver and they're not delighting in the gold because they got their own thing going. All right, here it is, you know, hey, man, the U.S., NATO, you know, they probably had a council together to talk about the Russians, you know, how they going to deal with them. They're taking over the Ukraine, right? They probably came up with the strategy that, you know, okay, maybe the European Union could just cut off all connections with the fuel. And who has that hurt more? The European Union or the Russians? It's hurt the European Union more, man. You know, here it is. The Russians, they just went to other people, other countries that they're by because they're a pretty big geographical land, and they replaced the European Union as far as consumers for their fuel supply goes. So now the European Union is screwed, man. You know what I'm saying? They over there with no energy at all. You know, you got cities that you got to turn off the fuel at night. You know, you think the gas prices is bad here? Shoot, Europe, man, it's not even going down in Europe, man. You know, and it's probably only going to get worse. All right, because things is heating up more and more. Okay, so that shows you that these Medes, all right, these Russians, they're not going to be, you know, tamed with silver and money. All right, so like silver and gold. All right, verse 18, and it reads, "Their bows shall dash the young men to pieces." All right, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. All right, now before I get into this, just to further what it was written of in verse 17. All right, we're gonna head into Ezekiel chapter 38. Okay, because ultimately it's the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai as to why the Russians are raising up against Babylon, as to why it's happening. All right, so Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 1, and it reads, the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. All right, so let's hit the map here. What is Gog and Magog talking about? All right, so you have Gog, Magog, map, boom. All right, so you see there right there, Gog. What does it say? All right, so Ezekiel 38 and 2, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. All right, so there it is. All right, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. All right, right there, you see it. Meshech, Tubal, you see Rosh there, right? That's the geographical location of Russia. All right. And it reads, verse 3, and thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai our power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company, with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So that's basically them. The Lord is going, basically raise them up with their whole military, man. And that's what's been in the works for years now, man. That's been in the works for years. It started with that military display, in Moscow, where Putin was sitting next to the Chinese prime minister, their leader, and that marked the beginning of their allegiance, basically. That marked the beginning of them growing tighter and tighter, and that happened years ago, man. All right, and that's Yahweh Hashem Yahushai putting hooks into their jaws. Okay, verse 5, Persia. All right, and we spoke on Persia. Persia is them Iranians. All right, modern day Iranians. Ethiopia. All right, yeah, Ethiopia. That's Cush. All right, that's the true biblical nationality. All right, Cush. Them's is Hamites. All right, and you saw them in the movie Black Hawk Down. That took place in the country called Somalia. I forgot exactly what city. But that took place in that country called Somalia. It's literally right next to Ethiopia, on their eastern coast. All right, and Libya. So that's up north. You know what I'm saying? At the Mediterranean Sea coast. All right, they don't like the states either, man. Why? Because what they did with Muammar Gaddafi, the way they took him out of power. They set up a whole insurrectionist group to take that dude out of power, man. Why? Because what he was doing was going against what's it called? What he was doing was going against U.S. Rothschild interests, man. All right, so continuing on, and it says, all of them with shield and helmet, because these are going to be the kingdoms that rise up against Babylon, man. All right, who else does it say? Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north borders. All right, and if I'm not mistaken, all right, that's talking about this, man. All right, so you see Togarmah right there. All right, I'm trying to see where Gomer is at. If I'm not mistaken, oh no, Gomer is basically to the east. All right, but you see right there Togarmah. You know what I'm saying? So that's talking about the Turks, man. And the Turks, they make up the they're actually part of the NATO. The only thing is they're one of the more rebellious countries. All right, and guess what? It's written here that they're gonna join Russia too, and that's what's happening too. It's called the Middle Eastern Triangle. Let me see. All right, let me see real quick. Yeah, right there. Yeah, Russia, Turkey, Iran triangle. All right, so that's Russia, Persia, and Togarmah. All right, or should I say Gog, Magog, Persia, and Togarmah. All right, and these are words written thousands of years ago. And guess what? They're being made manifest. All right, and that's the reason why. See, that's the reason why, these things will not be stopped. Because at the end of the day, it's the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay? Because as we read in Ezekiel 38, it's the Lord that's putting hooks into their jaws. All right, with the military power of Russia and the support of these lesser nations. All right, these lesser countries. All right, this is the host that the Lord is preparing. All right, to destroy Babylon. All right, what does it say? Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. You see? Because these countries are basically, banking on Russia to help them, against Babylon, man, against the U.S. Why? Because what does the scripture say about this place? All right, it's found there. Let's go to it. Isaiah chapter 14 and 4. All right, because these Edomites here in Babylon, man, they don't know how to rule, man. All right, they rule in tyranny. That's why. All right, and it says so right here in verse 6. All right, so like it wasn't verse 4, but you know what? Let's bring it out. We're going to start at verse 4. So it reads, Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4, and it reads that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, all right, so the king of Babylon, who's that talking about? That's talking about these devils that rule here in this wicked ass kingdom, man. All right, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. All right, because all the influence of this devil has gone down, man. Nobody wants to listen to this devil anymore. All right, nobody sees him as a figure of authority. Okay, nobody sees him as the, how do I put it to you? Nobody sees him as the light bearer amongst the humans anymore. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, man. All right, because he got exposed as he's being exposed as the wicked, man. All right, so I'm gonna read it again, starting from verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased? All right, now I said that was these devils that is ruling here. It applies to that as well. In the lower levels. All right, but who's truly the king of Babylon, man? All right, who's truly the king of Babylon? That's these Rothschilds, these different banking families, because they run this place. All right, you think Biden and Trump and them, they have no control, man. All right, why? Because when they get in charge, guess what? The men with the black suits roll up and they tell the president what to do, man. And who those men in the black suits work for? They work for them different banking families. All right, but continuing on, and it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. All right, now why is it mentioned like this? Because Babylon is the main muscle. All right, Babylon is the main muscle. It's not these Rothschilds, they ain't using no other kingdom, man. They only use Babylon. All right, because of its military power. Okay, and say how the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Right, because they're not influential anymore. All right, they're losing their influence. All right, as far as these other nations in the world go, they're not listening to these Edomites anymore, man. All right, even their own kindred, with the Russians and them. Because at the end of the day, Russia, the Russians, them's is Edomites too, man. All right, even they own kindred don't listen to each other, man. So we're seeing a nation that is of a divided house, a divided kingdom, a divided nation, and it is being brought down to desolation. All right, so verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and unhindered. All right, the whole earth is quiet. So the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Why? Because this devil took peace from the earth, man. All right, like what does the scripture says? Who's this at? And it was given to him. Let me see. I believe it was on the red horse. All right, but it was written of in Revelations. Let me see. Take peace from the earth. Right, Revelations chapter 6. Right, Revelations chapter 6 verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. All right, because that represents his military capabilities. All right, but this here, that's one of the four horsemen. This one in particular, that's represented by the red horse. All right, and power being given to him to take peace from the earth is talking about Esau, Edom, man. All right, because that's how this devil got into power, man. That's how this devil got, is able, has built himself up to the way that he has built himself up to. All right, by his sword. Okay, so going back to Isaiah chapter 13. All right, we left off on verse 17. All right, so we're going to start there again. All right, because at the end of the day, it's Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai that's making these Russians do that, man. All right, hence it reads, in Isaiah 13 and 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right, because they got their own thing going. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. All right, because, hey, man, they're not going to be up here saying, oh, which city got the most women and children here? We're going to spare that city. All right, but we're going to hit L.A., though, because L.A. is the one with all the men. No, man, they're going to send it everywhere. All right, verse 19. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of Chaldee's excellency, shall be as when Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. All right, because this place is going to become an utter and absolute wasteland. Okay, and meanwhile you got Jakes out here. They wanna grow their legacy here, build a legacy here, and prosper here. And they tell all the Jakes to do so, man. Y'all in a trick bag, man. All right. And all these, supposed, pseudo rich people that's coming out the woodworks talking about some, they got the answers to become rich and successful here, man. They playing a sick joke on you, man. Because they know them being, rich and whatnot. They know that the U.S. dollar is about to collapse. So it's going to be worth nothing anyways. All right. Verse 21. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And their time is near to come, and their days shall not be prolonged. All right, and I love, finishing up on that verse right there. Because Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, he's not prolonging the days of this sinful kingdom, man. He's not prolonging the days of this wicked place, man. He's setting the destruction of Babylon and the salvation of the election of Israel. He's setting now all that into motion, man. It's set into motion. All right, and what does it say in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2? All right, it reads, for the vision, so like it's Habakkuk chapter 2 and 3. It reads, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Right, the prophecy, it's yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right, so once this thing is set in motion, there's nothing that's going to stop it. All right, and that's the thing, because hey, so many Jakes, they put the day of Yahweh Shimi Hawashai afar off, but when that day comes and it catches all of them with their pants down, that's when they're going to want deliverance and salvation. That's when they're going to want the Lord to deliver them. But guess what? It's not going to happen. All right, because you had all this time to get right. Okay, and that leads to the final verse. Let me see. Third woe. All right, so just finishing up with this verse. And it reads, Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. And it reads, the second woe is past. All right, the second woe represents World War II. All right, and it says that the second woe is past, meaning it already happened. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly, meaning the third world's war. And it's coming quickly, man. You see it manifesting itself. You see, it ain't a thing where, Russia is going to come and they're going to have, 100,000 troops. They went and, took over Ukraine. And now, 10 years later, they're going to go take over Poland. No, man. This thing is picking up quick. All right. This thing is manifesting itself, because the days of Babylon are not prolonged, man. All right. Yeah, they could have stretched things out. But guess what? Oh, Salakia. Not this one. This one. All right, they could have stretched things out, but guess what? 300,000 troops. That's not something that you could take just for one country, man. 300,000 troops. That's the whole western front right there between Russia and NATO and the EU. All right, because that's how much. Because Russia could really do it with 100,000 troops, but them taking 300,000 troops is because they know that they're about to set it off. Okay, and that's another telltale sign, another display. All right, that this thing isn't gonna get any better. It's not gonna wind down. It's only going to amp up, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua is getting ready to deliver his elect and destroy the wicked. All right, so with that, I'm gonna say, call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Rakah HaKudash for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. With that, I'm gonna say shalom. On to the next.